How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Another LR3, but this one is pretty special. I know I said I was going to try and keep that last one for as long as possible, and I did. It just had transmission issues, unfortunately, and it was a lot cheaper to just buy another LR3 than to replace the transmission, which was around 7,500 bucks. I'll do a quick walk around and show you everything that's been done so far, but before I do, if you've ever gotten your finger caught in a mouse trap when trying to set it, be sure to like and subscribe. I bought it for 2,200 bucks, currently at 283,000 miles. It's a 2006 LR3 HSE with the 4.4 liter V8, of course. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a special one because by the good Lord's provision, the transmission was replaced and has 80,000 miles on it. The previous owners had it since 2009, and they even got me connected to the shop that's been maintaining it for the past 8 years. All those things are kind of the dream scenario when it comes to buying used Land Rovers. And they really took such good care of this thing. Regular oil changes, diff fluids, transfer case. Most recently done were all ignition coils, spark plugs, and new front air struts manufactured by Arnott. Arnott makes some really high quality air suspension parts, so that's a nice plus. I've had it almost 2 months now, and I've done a handful of things so far, being an oil change, fresh air filter. It had some fluctuating RPMs, so I cleaned out the throttle body to take care of that. The radio wasn't working before, which was probably my biggest concern when I was buying it because I just need my music when I'm driving. But turns out all it needed was a new amplifier, which sits under the front passenger seat. Very easy replacement. I have a separate video on that I posted a month ago. And I will say, even though I could have just listened to music from my phone, it was kind of peaceful just driving in silence. I also added a 2.5-inch lift using Johnson rods, which if you haven't done it before, it's a fairly easy job. There are a few tutorials around, and I see most of them removing the tires to install, but you really don't have to. I put it in off-road height, got underneath with some WD-40 and sprayed the stock rods, pried them off with a flathead, and then just snapped the new rods in. Only took me about 30 minutes with the rears, taking the longest because of how awkward it was to get to the old ones. I actually got really nauseous and I had to take a few breaks because of the weird position my neck was in. It'd probably be a lot more comfortable just taking the tires off, but if you're stubborn like I am, you can get them installed with a little less labor. When I picked it up, it had some Yokohama Geolandar ATs at 255, 5519. And they had some aftermarket wheels that I didn't like so much. So I swapped those out with some Land Rover wheels, 19-inch. And then I decided I wanted larger tires. So I got some 18-inch wheels from a friend and then just started looking at some bigger tires. And I probably put too much thought into the tires. I thought about sticking to the stock tire size or maybe just going up an inch in diameter, maybe 2 inches, going back and forth between Falcon Wild Peaks, Wrangler Durtracks, which I've had in the past, the new Wrangler Durtrack RTs, maybe getting some BFG KO2s that I've also had in the past, or possibly upgrading to the new BFG KO3s. And then Pirelli is coming out with, or I guess they already came out with some new all-terrains, the Scorpion XTMs. Many, many options. And the person who had to listen to all of this was my wife. You could say that she got really tired of it. After all that, I decided to go with the Toyo Open Country AT3s in 255/70/18 from Discount Tire. I did plenty of comparisons, watched a ton of reviews, and found that the Open Country AT3s best fit the type of driving that I do, which I'd say is around 60% pavement and 40% off-road. They have the 3-peak Mountain Snowflake rating, nice aggressive tread blocks, and everything I've watched or read about them so far have been overwhelmingly positive. I'll do a more detailed review of them once we start getting some snow. I also did something that I've never done before, which was get a proper spare. All the trips I've gone on, I either didn't have a spare or the spare wasn't even the same size as the rest of my tires. And that was pretty foolish and careless of me. On top of not having a spare, I'd often go on trails by myself. So if you're gonna go off-roading or camping, bring a spare, and if you can, bring a friend. The paint's in really good condition. Some signs of fading on the roof and on the hood. I had to do some touch-up paint, but really nothing too bad. And then no major dents or scratches and no cracks in any of the glass panels. Headlights are also good to go. I used a restoration kit by Cerakote, which you can get on Amazon for around 15 bucks. I'll link that in the description. And they pretty much look brand new compared to how they were before. I also swapped the corner lights for some white LEDs to match the main headlight. Moving to the interior, the seats are in really great shape. Second row is nearly flawless, and the third row even more so. Just don't feel like folding that up right now. The front seat has 2 minor tears, one right down here, and then one on the armrest. And the front passenger seat has just a little scuff right there. The dash has a couple cracks where the front passenger airbag is, which is pretty normal for these. The previous owner had a dash cover on it like this, but it was a little faded, so I got this one instead. Normally dash covers are kind of tacky, but I think it looks pretty good. It makes me feel cozy, especially with winter coming up. It did have a DVD player. Of course, it did not work, so I took it out, and then I went to remove this mounting plate, and it just left a huge hole in the roof, so I am going to leave it. And honestly, it might be a good spot to mount a GoPro for future videos. The steering wheel is looking really good now. Before, I had a steering wheel cover on it because I thought the leather was damaged, but turns out it was just a lot of built up dirt and grime that got underneath the previous owner's steering wheel cover. And I made a video on this recently, but you can just clean it off with some like heavy duty wipes and then just go back over it with a leather cleaner, not a leather conditioner. You don't want to loosen up the leather, but it looks a lot better now. Definitely check out that video if your steering wheel is gross. Lastly, I changed out the front dome light and rear cargo light to some white LEDs. I plan on doing the same for the courtesy lights on the doors. Just better visibility because of how bright they are, and looks a lot cleaner. As far as future plans go, I don't really have anything in mind. Camping and off-roading, all the normal stuff, but other than the 2.5-inch lift, I think I'll keep it stock. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, but every time I fixed or added something or changed something on it, it made me want to take it for a drive. When I fixed the idling issue, the radio, or when I got new tires, it just made me find an excuse to go drive somewhere. These LR3s are really awesome. The design is timeless, they're capable of driving anywhere, the seating capacity is great, and the space is great. They just don't make them like this anymore, so it's really nice to have found one in such good shape, and hopefully I can keep it that way. But that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.